before we begin, I'd like to extend welcome to everyone, to students and parents joining to this Study in Canada workshop, Stand Out from the Crowd. Just a little bit information about us, in case this is the first time that you have heard about Canadian Education International Indonesia. We are a not-for-profit foundation mandated by the Embassy of Canada to promote Canadian education in Indonesia. So from time to time, we organize online and on-site events as well to promote Canadian education and also to promote Canadian institutions that are interested to recruit students in Indonesia. So now a little bit about this webinar itself. So this workshop is something that we have been planning, and we are fortunate to have Mr. John Anthony Limanto here with us. So the purpose of this workshop is actually very timely because it's held in the month of November. Why is it timely? Because for those of you that are planning to study in Canada next year, specifically for the fall intake September, we all know that now you are approaching the final deadline to submit your application. It may begin as early as next January. So naturally, you need to start preparing, start finalizing your choice of which university or which institutions you want to go to. And some of the requirements may involve writing a personal statement or an application letter that eye-catching, attention-grabbing to the admission. So this is a very useful workshop that John has prepared based on his experience. He has experienced internship in many companies, including company like Goto here in Indonesia. And John, I think I can spill the surprise, right? You are an intern at Sun Life in Canada, the insurance company. So congrats, John. I know that intern is coming up. So congratulations to you. Now, another aspect that I also want to share in terms of the benefit of this workshop before John begins is that John will also be focusing on resume building and also CV preparation, cover letter preparation, which is also very important when you are trying to apply for a job out there. Now, in Canada, as a student, you are eligible to work unlimited hours on campus, and you can even work up to 20 hours a week outside campus. And then we also have the internship program, we have the co-op program, and all these work opportunities start from the same spot, which is to apply for the job. And that's why it's very crucial for you as students or as future employees to have very interesting, very eye-catchy, attention-grabbing application letters. So needless to say, the skills that you will learn from this workshop will be very practical and life skills that can be applied and implemented in multiple scenarios. So with that, without further ado, I'd like to give the screen now to John Limanto to begin the workshop. Let's give him our big warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you semua. First of all, kalian bisa lihat ini ya, layarku ya. Aku lagi sharing screen sekarang. So glad to see all of you guys, karena aku dikasih tahu Pak Welly kalau kalian ini semua mahasiswa di, bukan mahasiswa, selesaikan high school ya, rata-rata menyelesaikan SMA dan sekarang menuju mau untuk masuk ke university yang tentu kalian juga bakal nanti harus tulis application letter. Dan kenapa sedikit motif aja, mungkin 2 menit menjelaskan kenapa aku ingin banget bikin workshop ini. Jadi aku juga bilang ke Pak Welly dan Joseph dan yang lain, sebenarnya aku dulu pas tahun pertama itu nggak terlalu banyak pengalaman berorganisasi. Aku baru tahun kedua, akhir tahun kedua itu aku baru bisa masuk ke PERMIKA Toronto, yaitu PPI di Persatuan Mahasiswa Indonesia di Toronto. Yang lalu akhirnya aku awalnya jadi sebagai tim program, sampai akhirnya jadi presiden, dan sekarang mengepalai di bidang public relations di PERMIKA Nasional. Dan juga aku sempat ada internship di Gojek dan sebagainya. Tapi aku mulai merasa kalau misalnya aku mulai berorganisasi dan mulai nyari internship di tahun keduaku gitu, bagaimana kalau misalnya aku dulu sudah mulai aktif dari tahun pertama gitu? Tentunya mungkin aku bisa melihat ke diriku yang sekarang dan udah mencapai titik yang lebih jauh gitu kan. Jadi karena itu akhirnya aku merasa ya juga ya, kenapa gitu? Karena mungkin juga dulu aku tahun pertama belum ada pengalaman bikin nulis resume ataupun cover letter, jadi aku belum siap waktu itu, dan juga aku pingin bisa bagi, karena aku pingin sebenarnya inti dari workshop ini adalah pingin bisa menjadi sebuah encouragement untuk kalian semua, supaya dengan workshop ini kalian itu bisa dapat encouragement kalau kalian sudah masuk di universitas dan juga di high school, kalian itu bisa langsung mencari organisasi gitu, mencari pekerjaan, langsung mencari organisasi. Kenapa? Karena once again aku aja mulai di tahun kedua, akhirnya udah bisa menjadi presiden PERMIKA Toronto dan sebagainya. Aku percaya kalau kalian bisa mulai lebih awal gitu kan, dari kalian nulis application letter sampai kalian cari pekerjaan pertama kali, sampai kalian cari organisasi. Karena nanti pertama kali kalian dapat internship itu, kalau kalian belum ada pengalaman dari SMA, itu nanti bakal bergantung banyak dengan pengalaman berorganisasi kalian. Nah, aku juga ada diskusi sama Pak Welly sebelumnya bahwa kalau misalnya di acara ini banyak dari kalian belum ada pengalaman berorganisasi ya, tapi nggak apa-apa gitu. Jadi nanti aku bakal menjelaskan bagaimana caranya mengatasi kalau misalnya memang kalian belum ada pengalaman berorganisasi, untuk tetap menulis resume dan cover letter yang baik. Pertama, mungkin kita harus menjelaskan pertama kali dulu, kenapa sih kita harus nulis yang disebut letter gitu, application letter, cover letter, kenapa kita harus nulis itu gitu? Mungkin kalian penasaran gitu. Nah, jadi sebenarnya itu kan cover letter tuh, jadi ada dua hal yang kita akan kumpulkan untuk sebagai bagian dari lamaran kerja kita kalau kita nanti apply buat internship, yaitu yang pertama cover letter dan yang kedua adalah resume. Jadi dua hal ini yang kalian akan kumpulkan bersamaan mungkin dengan dokumen seperti transkrip dan yang lain-lain. Resume mungkin kita udah tahu itu isinya pengalaman-pengalaman kita dan juga kemampuan kita, juga mungkin sertifikat, kelas, dan sebagainya, proyek-proyek kita pernah lakukan. Tapi apa itu cover letter? Mungkin banyak yang belum tahu. Jadi ini beberapa hasil dari survei yang dilakukan oleh sebuah lembaga bernama Resume Lab dari 200 manajer HR di Amerika Serikat. Dia tuh menanyakan manajer-manajer HR atau yang merekrut dari partisipan-partisipan tersebut mengenai statistik-statistik berkaitan cover letter. Nah, ini yang menarik ya. Jadi pertama, 83% dari aplikan yang katanya resumenya nggak memadai. Jadi resumenya itu kurang bagus. Tapi cover letternya sangat baik. Itu tetap aja bisa mendapat interview. Interview pertama yang semoga nanti mereka bisa dapat internship-nya gitu kan. Ini dari dari HR, dari manager HR. Yang kedua, seringkali kalau kalian bakal mulai nanti applying buat jobs, kalian akan melihat bagaimana nanti ditulis cover letter tuh opsional, dan banyak orang akan merasa udahlah kalau di job postingnya cover letter aja opsional, ngapain aku submit cover letter gitu. Nah, tapi ini yang menarik juga. 77% dari manajer HR menganggap walaupun cover letter tulisannya opsional di job posting, aplikan yang tetap menyerahkan cover letter itu tetap diprioritaskan. Karena itu menunjukkan kalau kalian berkomitmen dan kalian mau walk the extra mile gitu kan, memberikan tenaga yang lebih banyak daripada yang dibutuhkan. Nah, ini yang menarik, ini yang ketiga lagi. Apakah benar dibaca? 77% dari staff rekrutmen akan tetap membaca cover letter aplikan meski tidak diperlukan dalam lamaran kerja. Gitu. Jadi dari tiga statistik ini, mungkin kita bisa melihat kalau misalnya pentingnya dari cover letter juga. Bagaimana cover letter itu sebenarnya surat yang bukan cuman kita tulis sembarangan, tapi sebenarnya surat yang bisa mendorong kita dan menaikkan peluang kita untuk mendapatkan pekerjaan ataupun pengalaman peluang-peluang lain yang kalian lagi kejar saat ini. So first of all, I would like to begin with just what is the cover letter and what does it do? And like cover letter is an accompaniment letter. Jadi dibilangnya surat pengantar gitu kan, mendampingi resume atau curriculum vitae. And the history came because when offices began opening up in the 1960s, and then people started applying in loads of amount, in huge amount. They no longer could just read resumes and understand about their applicants. Therefore, they had to start understanding their applicants from the letters they wrote. So they started writing these letters that showed about why they were applying, about what it is that they had accomplished. So introducing the resume in their own personality, and also giving certain reason why their experiences so far will make them an outstanding candidate for the position they're applying to. And so you can see that as an accompaniment letter, this is a general format for how a cover letter would start. So we start with what's called as a header in a cover letter. And a header is the opening part of a cover letter, which includes, of course, your name, and it includes your address and contact information. But here's where it gets important. So when I was writing my first cover letter, I started with writing a very specific address. But what is the point of an address in a cover letter? Well, an address in a cover letter is to show that the employer that you are living in an area that is close to them. So the address doesn't have to be specific. So you can see here, the person is just writing that he's in Santa Monica in an area MD Financial, and it's not necessarily important that you write something very specific. What's important is that you show that you are living in a place that's close by to the office, because if you're living far away in another city, then the employer will have to consider supporting accommodations for transportation as well. Regarding your contact information as well, so the contact information that is provided, as you can see, includes the phone number and the email. But I don't think that this is necessarily all that you need to input, because you can also input in, for example, your LinkedIn. And if you have a personal website, because maybe you're working in computer science, or you have other side projects such as online shops that you want to display to your employer, then you should definitely put those as part of the contact information. So here is some other example as well. This one has a LinkedIn in it, and I encourage you to put your LinkedIn and to polish your LinkedIn so your employer can see. Now, as an opening paragraph, you need to be able to hook your employer. And the way you hook your employer, this is the average level cover letter. So in this average level cover letter, you're simply saying, I am writing this cover letter to express your interest in applying to the job. Once again, opening paragraph is about introducing why you're interested in applying to this job. Now, however, this might not be necessarily the best way to introduce yourself, because if an employer were reading this, they could tell that, for example, the only thing that is particular about their company in this particular opening paragraph is only their job, which is that they are applying to investment associate job in Santa Monica. And they could have just easily changed the name of the company to other names of companies or to other positions, and they will certainly have been able to apply to another position as well. And this is actually one tip that I can give that I also gained from my other seniors in campus. So I've also been to a lot of resume in a cover letter writing session with a lot of my seniors in campus. And my seniors have always advised me this. Many of them finding their jobs will apply to 50 to 60 job applications. So think about that, 50 to 60 before landing either their first or their second interview. So you should expect to write a lot of cover letters to land your first job. You shouldn't expect to just write 30. You should expect to write 40, 50, and 60, which means that for most of the jobs you're applying to, you won't have the time to write a lengthy cover letter, or a cover letter that is that you will put a lot of time in writing the opening paragraph. So how do you overcome that? Well, a standard strategy that my seniors and I and my friends also employ is we would have two different cover letters. One cover letter is an average cover letter. This cover letter is a cover letter that we can easily modify so that we can apply to other jobs very quickly. And you might need this because job openings open fast and some of them close within 2 weeks. So you don't want to wait to write your cover letter if you really don't have the time. So preparing this kind of average cover letter opening where you just say, I'm writing this cover letter to express my interest. It's not the best, but it is one possibility to overcome the time constraint. And it allows you, because it's still better, as you've seen from the statistics before, for you to have to still submit a cover letter than for you not to submit a cover letter. So at the end of the day then, it's still better for you to learn as well, to have a cover letter where your opening paragraph at least introduces your interest. And even if it might not be the best, you can use this kind of opening paragraph for your average cover letter before you move on to writing for the jobs you're really passionate for, the jobs that you really want, with an opening paragraph that really hits, right? So what is an opening paragraph that is different than the average opening paragraph? Well, here's another example. Imagine this. The first sentence here says, I'm writing this cover letter to express my interest. This one says, everyone tells me the entry-level consultant position in any of the big firms is going to be the same. However, after attending 5 career fairs and speaking with over 20 professionals, it has become clear to me that EY stands out from the rest. And the author starts talking about what he found from talking to specific EY staff. And what the moral you should take away from this is a good opening paragraph should include your research on the company. From this opening paragraph, you can tell the person has attended many career fairs, has spoken to many professionals, and has specifically understood what it is about EY that stands out. And actually, this was taken from online from a person who did receive the job from EY, which is one of the top 4 strategic consulting company. And so, for example, if you have career fairs that are upcoming, you should come to your career fairs and you should talk about your experience in the career fair. You should demonstrate that you've been talking to people in the industry. You can invite, network with people to a coffee chat. You can come to info sessions. This September alone, I attended over 7 different info sessions before I landed my job in Sun Life. And I always use my experience in listening to the employees in those places, in those info sessions and those in the career fairs as a hook for my intro. And so this would be, I think, a more excellent way to start your opening paragraph, to express, once again, opening paragraph is to express your interest, why you're applying to the job. And an average way is to simply say that, oh, you're interested in this because you found this job from this portal, and that you believe the synergy or the combination of so-and-so skills will help. But here's another one, which is you bring in your research about the company. Maybe you say that you met a mentor of yours that worked at the company. Maybe another way is you heard the talk from the speaker at the info session, and they talk about the values of the company, for example, that the company stands for engagement and proper communication with their customer. And then you relate that to the skills that you have, right? And so this is, I think, for the second paragraph, he talks about the client, the engagement, the business development assignments. I think this demonstrates how later on you can tie into your own skills as well. So that is regarding opening paragraph. Once again, that's the average opening paragraph, which is not useless. You can still use it for one of your cover letter. And there's, I think, a more outstanding one, which again, you have to do your research on the company, and you include in your knowledge of either the company values, the company vision and mission, or certain experiences you have with the speaker. For example, let's say that you're really interested in, let's say, University of Toronto, because I'm in University of Toronto. Then maybe one of the things you might do is you might want to look up online for certain info sessions that University of Toronto is launching, or you might also want to look up certain projects that interest you from University of Toronto. For example, University of Toronto is known for their discovery of insulin. And if, let's say, you're going to life science in University of Toronto, right? You're doing biology, then you might highlight, I understand that University of Toronto has been the pioneer in research in biological science. And then you cite certain projects that University of Toronto has had. Now, another way would be if you have had friends who has attended the university themselves. So for example, let's say you're coming to marketing, and which is a very a more business-oriented degree. And within the job, within the degree, you heard from your friends about how there is the co-op program in University of Toronto where they were mentored by their professors, and they were able to find seniors that help them in networking as well. Then you can talk about the balance in University of Toronto between just academic studying and preparation towards their career. And so then in that case, you can still connect this to universities you want to apply to by just being able to be active in reaching out to, first of all, once again, either an info session, a certain person in the university. Well, I talked about researchers in the university that they were already doing, and perhaps also, if you have connections to certain recruiters from the university as well, either from the career fair or either from your teacher as well. Those are really key assets that you can implement in your university application. But definitely, if not, you can still talk about generally the vision, the motto of the university and how it applies to you as a person. So maybe you're interested in being able to pursue marketing as a tool to improve the condition of local businesses in Indonesia, then you can talk about that as an opening paragraph as well. It still expresses your interest. Now, second of all, there's of course the body paragraph. Now, the second and third body paragraph before the closing paragraph is usually talking about the experiences that you have. And this is actually, in a way, trying to explain your resume, but giving a certain personality or walking through the reader with your resume. So there's a formula that I think would be easy for you to follow, which is first start with the soft skills that you are trying to aim at. So for example, this person, as part of his resume, he wants to talk about that he's a results-oriented and performance-driven. Now, support the soft skills that you want to show with the experience that you have. So here the person is applying to be an investment associate at an investment company. Therefore, he says that he's worked at an investment associate for more than 2 years. Now, what about if you're applying to a university? Well, let's say that you believe, for example, you're applying for, let's say, a STEM major, right? You're applying to engineering. Then, once again, maybe the same thing can apply. You might want to talk about time management and analytical skills instead. Now, of course, maybe you haven't had a job, but maybe you've had a science fair in your school where you demonstrated your expertise in, or at least your interest in scientific thinking and how that relates to your analytical skills in being able to come up with out-of-the-box analysis of technical matters. You might, or for example, you're coming to communication. So of course, communication is number one. I am an individual with strong communication skill. And so the first, once again, body paragraph, you start the first is with identifying the soft skills that relate to the job or the university that you're applying to, university degree you're applying to. So in this one, he's applying to investment company. He thinks that being results-oriented is and performance-driven is the number one key. Now, if you are, for example, applying to a business school, you're applying to a business degree, then maybe it's interpersonal skill and collaboration, right? If you're applying to become, once again, maybe a biologist, then maybe a strong interest in research and communication, perhaps. So just identify those, and you can add the experiences you've had in school that support those soft skills. And of course, at the end, he talks about how he was a top 2% student with the best academic results. Now, if you have other awards you have in school, maybe you're number 1 in class or number 2 in class, then you can add those as well, as long as to support the soft skills that you are trying to show as part of it. Here are some others as well, once again. Now, this one, actually, it combines from the previous one about EY. So you see that his soft skill is robust problem solving and a flair for project management. And this is because he's applying to a consulting firm which prioritizes problem solving and of course management in very large scale businesses. And then once again, same formula, start with the soft skill, problem solving, project management, and he was involved in this experience, a full life cycle of a finance project. Now, this is important. Add numbers when you can. So, for example, you work at a science fair in your school where you work with 5 people that develop, 5 different miniatures trying to explain certain scientific concept, right? Once again, there's very specific number that he uses. It's one of those tools that I recommend. Now, another one is I think that the final paragraph here doesn't really tie as well to the previous one, because the previous one, he talks about always being on top of deadlines and ensuring client deliverables were on time, which is maybe more on time management. And so if I want to recommend to you, if you were to add something like that as part of your cover letter, I would also recommend that you start as well with trying to have other experiences that support that. In this case, he doesn't really support it, and he doesn't come with part of the the list of soft skills that he has. So I think that there is some pros and cons about this one as well. Now, of course, now we move on to our closing paragraph. Now, our closing paragraph is, of course, the easiest one to write. But I still think that there are certain ways that you can personalize personalize the cover letter even more. So, for example, let us go back, for example, to for example, the opening and the closing of this paragraph. The opening and closing of this paragraph starts with "to whom it may concern," right? Now, it's not necessarily the best for you to just say "to whom it may concern" as an intro and to end with just saying "thank you for your time and consideration," because, well, it doesn't show once again that you have researched the company or that you even know anything about them. So one way to personalize not just your closing paragraph, but also your intro as well, is to research perhaps the name of the hiring manager of the company. Now, this is not always possible. So when it's not possible as well, my recommendation is still to mention certain part of the job that you're applying to. So at least in this case, he's saying that, oh, I'm looking forward to talk for the project management position as an EY staff consultant. Once again, just saying that it's specific to that part of the company, to the team of the company. But perhaps a far more excellent tool that you can utilize as well in these days is we have LinkedIn, and that allows you to find out the name of the hiring manager as well. Now, if this were a university application, then it may be a lot harder. You might have to find from your local school about your local school career fair about the name of the recruiter from the university. But I think for university purposes, you can just address it to the university recruiting team, right? Now, if this was for a job, though, you might regard it to address it to a hiring manager, and you provide the name, and therefore it allows you, as part of your closing paragraph as well, to later say, thank you for your time and consideration, and I would definitely love to talk more with you, Mr. ... and team as well, as part of the EY staff consultant program. Okay, so moving on from I think cover letter writing is the second part of the application that you have to write. So once again, not only do you have to write a cover letter, and we will also later on, we'll have some practice in writing essential part for cover letter and resume both, which is the elevator pitch, right? So we'll have a session, a more interactive one, where we'll do that, and you'll get a chance to actually get help in writing your first ever functional resume. Now, in resume building, though, the difference between a resume and a cover letter, first of all, is resume has to be very short and succinct. This is a rule, right? Statistics say that hiring managers on average only look at resume for about 7 seconds. So when you look at this resume, immediately certain things will stand out. Well, number one, it's 1 page. As a general rule, never go beyond 1 page. Your resume cannot go beyond 1 page, and this also applies for your cover letter. It cannot go beyond 1 page. Once again, to repeat, cover letter and resume cannot be more than 1 page. For cover letter, you have the intro, the opening paragraph, 1 or 2 body paragraphs, and a closing paragraph, but it cannot be all more than 1 page. Now, for a resume, however, we can see that there are certain format that is usually applicable to different scenarios. If you have more than at least, if you have some experiences in the industry, including maybe certain internship, then you might want to start with the standard resume building. The standard resume format, which is the chronological resume. And we start with what's called as an elevator pitch or the summary, and then you would just list the experiences in this sort of chronological way. So this one, his actually is starting in descending order from the latest job that he has to the oldest job that he has, right? So he starts from those experiences and moving down to the past. However, I understand that a lot of you guys, actually, Pak Welly told me that you guys haven't had yet many internship experiences, or maybe you guys are just new, and then you guys are just confused on how to start. And to be honest, that's okay. That's okay too. And there's a famous format as well for a resume that does not require you to write your past experience, and that's what's called as a functional resume. Now, the difference between a chronological resume is, apart from education and the relevant skills, a chronological resume is centered on the professional experiences you have. You have worked in here he works in Wells Fargo Advisors, in SunTrust Investment Service, in Maverick Capital Management. However, in a functional resume, you focus once again on the soft skills that you want to emphasize to your employer. So once again, going back to my example of the cover letter, let's say you're applying to engineering. So you might want to emphasize analytical thinking, research, interest in research, and perhaps time management skills. So maybe those are your relevant skills. Once again, if you're in applying for a business related degree, such as marketing, management, then maybe you want to put as your relevant skills your leadership, collaboration, teamwork, communication as well. And the purpose of putting those is because you want to be able to show certain projects that you have that can support the soft skills. So once again, you need to have at least certain experiences, although they don't have to be jobs, right? So for example, this person, as part of his talking about his customer service, he merely talks about his experience in being part of a customer service, a customer service call. Now, of course, this might not constitute everything about his job, but it is one part of his job. But that is the part of his job that can support the fact that he's good at customer service. Now, for you, for example, if you want to elaborate on communication, now as part back in your school, maybe you've worked as part of maybe the bendahara of the class, right? The treasurer of the class, or maybe you've even had some past projects in your science classes where you have to present ideas, right? Now, here you can say something like, for example, talking about communication, right? You have to present ideas to your science class, so you can talk about as part of 5 different classes that you've been able to present many ideas on maybe DNA and about human digestion and so forth, and that you've received critical feedbacks, very positive feedbacks from your teacher. Now, when possible as well, once again, of course, I would encourage to add numbers. Now, this might be hard if it was only a school project, but maybe you received an A as part of your school project in the latest science presentation that you have had to do, or perhaps you've attended a science fair once again, and then as part of the science fair, you've been awarded certain awards. You can actually put that in as part of the numbers or the data that supports your soft skills as well. Now, apart from the soft skills that you want to put that will support your application, you want to have what's called elevator pitch, which is part of the summary, and your professional experience and your education. In this case, of course, your education and professional experience is quite irrelevant. I mean, your education, you will put that you're in high school, but a part of that, maybe not so much. So we want to focus on the elevator pitch, of course, right? So here are certain ones that I can give. For example, this person talks about him being a customer representative, and he's trying to improve month-to-month sales, and that he's been awarded certain awards. So what is this elevator pitch trying to say, really? Well, an elevator pitch or a summary statement, imagine that you're being stuck in an elevator with someone for a couple of minutes, and you have to explain yourself to that person in a way that can sell your experiences, and in a way that can sell the positions you're trying to apply to, that you are a strong candidate for such positions. Now, so the purpose of an elevator pitch is to give this higher level summary in very short paragraph. It's about 100 to 150 words only, that gives the employer, first of all, the the soft skills that you're trying to highlight. This one is the customer service representative, experienced customer service representative, the skills that he has, this one being able to predict, evaluate, and meet specific needs of customer, perhaps maybe other awards as well. But in all of that, being able to put it in 100 to 150 words, just in brief summary, what it is that you are trying to present yourself or to summarize to your employer in order to show that you are an outstanding candidate. Now, let's say you are applying to university once again, then maybe it's not, you've been an experienced customer service representative, but then you've been a very diligent and a work-oriented, and that you've been able to keep time management, and that maybe you talk about your leadership skills as well. So perhaps you say that you are a very results-driven individual with strong emphasis in leadership, right? And with proven track record in leadership positions within school and out of school. And then you talk about your skills and whatnot. And so once again, try to find the number one soft skills that you can put to market yourself out there to employers to show that you're an outstanding candidate. Now, these are the three soft skills that this particular person uses: customer service, sales, and merchandising. But of course, it doesn't have to be like that. This other person that we have, this elevator pitch, he has a strong communication skills. He even provides the language that he's speaking, the fluent language that he's speaking, and then he adds that his soft skill is his product knowledge as well, and his problem solving. Now, one thing to note about this though, this elevator pitch will not work if you're applying to, for example, a school. Why? Well, because maybe the school doesn't really care about the language you speak. The school doesn't care if you speak Danish, Swedish, English, and German. But the particular degree that you're applying to, let's say that maybe for me, I'm applying to a math degree. Maybe you've thought that you've been awarded certain awards as part of the math Olympiads, right? And that you've been a very high achieving student in your math courses, or that maybe you're applying to a statistics major or any major that requires data, right? Even engineering requires data, and you've thought that maybe as part of the school event that you've been helping to organize, the surveys that helps to give a broader understanding of the event experience from the students in the school. So once again, the elevator pitch is this very short summary about who you are. It displays the soft skills that will particularly suit the employer you're trying to apply to. In this case, he's applying as a customer service, so being a multilingual, strong customer experience will help. But if you're applying for university, then you might think, okay, what's my major? And what are the skills that my major will be looking for the most, right? And then this will not be separate, of course, from the actual experiences that you can market for yourself. So make sure be prepared to write down certain experiences that you've had in school and to be able to support your soft skills, right? Now, here's another one. Once again, this one is one from customer service representation. This one is customer service representative with over 3 years of experience resolving complex customer inquiries, passionate about building strong customer relationship, driving brand loyalty, and customer engagement. And his soft skills, he writes, is process streamlining, complaint resolution, service-based selling. So here's a question: is it okay to put your passion? It says passionate about building strong customer relationship, driving brand loyalty. Well, in the case of a school, applying for a school, one of the things that school when I was being counseled by my own school counselor as well, the Sekolah Pelita Harapan at Sekolah Pelita Harapan School in Jakarta, my school counselor advised me this, which is a school is not like a job. Although a job may care so much about your technical skills, a school cares a lot more about how you are as a complete person, as a holistic person. So when you're talking about your passion, it's okay, but use your passion as well to demonstrate that not only are you demonstrating your academic achievements, but that you have certain social causes as well that you are maybe volunteered for, or maybe that you are wanting to change as part of your enrollment in that university. So for example, maybe you're applying to University of Toronto once again as a marketing or a management. Then maybe you might talk about your passion as being related to how you care about the development of the local cities in Indonesia, and how local businesses are not as performing as effectively as they should, because the management of the people within are still very messy. And so you wish to come back to Indonesia to build together the country from the knowledge that you have from this university. So once again, it's a certain social cause that you can elaborate on as part of your passion. Now, even if maybe your passion is something very technical, right? Maybe you're interested in coding. Once again, how does coding change the world? Maybe you talk about how in my country, in Indonesia, that was for cover letter. But for a resume, maybe you're interested in, passionate in being able to build a business-to-business relation that is far more functional through the use of coding, right? So that's an example where you relate your passion to a certain social cause that demonstrates how you can help change the world as part of your enrollment in that university. So that is for university. For jobs, of course, there's a difference, because a job, you don't have a lot of space, and it will be they will be very much more interested in this particular skills that you have. So once again, if you're in a particular, you're applying for jobs or internships, talking about your passion is great too, but make sure that it emphasizes the skills, or perhaps certain jobs or certain roles that you wish to take, that you can support from the experiences and the soft skills you have. Now, moving on to the final part, right, which is still very, very important. We've been talking about the structure of the resume. We're talking about the structure of the cover letter, how to write your customer pitch, where you start by talking about the soft skills you want to show, who you are in broad stroke, and how that appeals to the employers. You will realize that sentences are written differently in a resume. So let's take some of these, right? Let's think about this one from SunTrust Investment Services. Devised and applied a new training, partnered with, serve, develop, review, deliver, ensure, serve, manage, exceeded, enhance, educate, receive, restock, organize, develop, create. Do you notice something? All of them start with a verb. And that's a common way to write in a resume. Now, we will be moving on soon to writing, of course, your functional resume. And so you might begin thinking, how would you start introducing your experience with a verb? So the first one he starts, it's he receives. But it doesn't have to be he receives, right? So for example, he said he enhanced the customer service survey by showing that the feedback is 95% consistently great, right? And there are a bunch of words or verbs that you might want to consider. And I want to show you those verbs that we have. Let us say that you were part of the school band, and that you arrange the rundown for the particular concert that is happening in your school. So you might want to say you coordinated 5 band members in the planning of maybe your school New Year concert, right? And that's of course something that you can replace with many other verbs as well, all of which fall under leadership. You spearheaded the same program, you planned, you oversaw. Now, but what if maybe you're not leading something, right? Maybe let's say that as part of your school, you were the one that created this movement in the school to try and donate to the local orphanage, right? So you initiated something, right? So maybe you say you pioneered a particular initiative in your school, which oversaw the delivery of maybe educational books, 50 educational books to the local orphanage. No, but what if maybe you're not initiating or leading anything, right? So maybe as part of your school, let's say that as part of your school, you were working in an organization, and you realize that the organization itself hasn't been creating a lot of events, and maybe let's say this is OSIS, right? OSIS, student organization. Then maybe you might talk about streamlining the process of creating events in your local OSIS, right? Transform the organization structure, which enables for maybe 7 more members in your local student organization in your school, right? Now, maybe other than just improving, maybe you also simply work as part of a project. This is common. If you're in school, you're working as a project for your science class, right? So you negotiate, negotiated. You partnered with 5 others in launching a certain website which educates regular citizens about the danger of smoking. I don't know, And of course, if you're working in an actual organization, you would be able to say something like negotiated for a collaboration with another organization and forge a network of relationship with 5 other maybe local student organizations to create so-and-so event. Okay, so once again, there are many more that you can check out. I think I'm also running out of time, so I don't want to keep you waiting before we move on to our part about actually the interactive part of today's event. But definitely, just as a final word as well, I will definitely be sharing this. I hope to Pak Welly as well, this slideshow, so you can have a look and be mindful of the action verb. Remember that in general, in resume, the sentences start with an action verb, and you want to figure out which action verb best explains and captures what it is you're doing without being too vague, right? So you don't want to start with a create or a make, which is something too vague. You want to start strong, and hopefully by the use of the strong action verbs that you have, by the use of proper formatting as well, you have selected the soft skills you want to demonstrate in a way which appeals to your employers, and also with your cover letter that shows that you've researched well the company you're trying to get into or the school you're trying to get into, the motto, the mission and values. All of that will enhance greatly the opportunity you give to the many organizations and the schools and the internships that await for you guys further. So with that, I end my presentation part for today. Maybe you've understood this from my presentation as well, but as you can, I keep on referring to for you to research the company, to find career fairs, to find info sessions. I think it helps you direct you to this one big wisdom that I think you should keep in your mind all the time, which is that resume writing is amazing, it's great, but it's not the everything, right? At the end of the day, you cannot have a great resume or a great cover letter without great experiences, great internships, or great just anything, any activities that you've done that you can put on this resume and cover letters. And so I think as a final word of wisdom, I would just say just keep on being active, really. There's no getting around it. You can't write a good cover letter if you've never done your research. You can't write a good, even if you've done your research, it will still be a lot more powerful if you have a personal connection to the company, if you have attended certain events from them. So just please, I hope you understand that there is no such thing as a good cover letter or a good resume without good experiences or good projects to showcase. And so focus on the projects, the events you can come to, on how you can be more active, the organizations you can join, and then you write a really great resume that really lands you the positions that you really want. So
very well said. Thank you very much, John. And with that, I think we should conclude today's workshop. Thank you very much once again from Canadian Education International Indonesia for being here with us. And of course, to all of our audience, thank you for joining us and listening to this workshop. Hopefully this is a useful one, and we look forward to your attendance again and your participation at our upcoming webinar series and our on-site events. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weekend and take care always. Bye.